This is a place.
This is the place?
This is a place. We want to talk about. This is a place. Welcome to this week's episode of This is a Place podcast. My name is Nate.
I'm Brandon.
And hippity hoppity.
Zippity zappity.
Happy National Queso Day and National String Cheese Day and National Pepperoni Pizza Day. So all three have to do with cheese.
It's a healthy day.
It's a good day.
A good day to be a cheat day, right?
I think every other day is a cheat day for me.
Okay.
That's my problem.
So today, Wednesday, because we're recording on Wednesday and releasing it the same day.
This is live.
This is a live podcast. Is it an eat day for you?
This week, yes. So just with schedules and whatnot, I've had to, I think the whole month of September, I've had to eat on a Friday. So just had different reasons that I had to switch my no-eat days to Tuesdays and Thursdays for the month of September, it seems like. So here we are, which is good because Wednesdays lately, I'm trying not to play pickleball in the mornings anymore, but I usually play volleyball till late Tuesday night. And then I was playing pickleball. And then I have a hockey game usually early evening and then 2 softball games right after. So Wednesdays was a long day of burning calories, and it's really rough when you're not eating that day. So another reason why I've been eating on Wednesdays. So I can indulge in the cheese affair for National Cheese Day, Queso Day and String Cheese Day and pizza. So we need to have some pizza. Where's the best place for queso?
Cafe Costa Rica, they got some pretty good queso, right?
They got queso. And I do like the queso they have at Chili's.
Yeah. If you could, I feel like I know the answer because it's probably the most popular answer. But out of the three, queso, pepperoni pizza, or string cheese, what's your favorite?
Oh, pepperoni pizza.
Yeah, it's hard to compete, but some days it's a queso day. I'd say National String Cheese Day is string cheese probably down at the bottom of the list, right? In those rankings.
Yeah, it's rare that we buy string cheese. I loved it as a kid, but not as much anymore.
But it's perfect because all those three things tie into our episode today.
Perfectly,
which is KFC. More specifically, the OG original KFC location featured here in good old Salt Lake City, Utah.
We're number one.
What is your knowledge of this whole KFC debacle, this claim to fame that we have here? Not from your research, just going in blind. What's the deal?
First off, I didn't really know, probably till early 2000s, that we were the home of the world's first KFC. And the reason I know is because when you're driving on the freeway, they put up a sign there that says world's first KFC, which is really close to 5400 South, right?
Mm-hmm.
So forever, I thought that world's first KFC was like right there near the freeway. But I guess it's all relative, but it's not really close, that sign, to the world's first KFC.
Right.
Because the world's first KFC is over off of 39th.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
39th and State Street. So I've always wondered, why is that billboard or that sign right there?
I still wonder why.
Yeah. Even after I visited the location again the other day, I was driving by home and I'm like, why is that right there?
What are you doing?
Because
Utah
could you
KFC?
imagine, let's say you're from outside of Utah, you're not from Salt Lake City, and you don't have Google on your phone and
There's
you drive and you see that sign, you pull off the freeway, like how many hours are you going to spend driving around trying to find this world's first KFC? Because I mean, I would just naturally assume it's like nearby that sign.
right.
So,
It doesn't make sense, but you know what? It's such a cool thing that they're gonna advertise it as much and as in as many places as they can.
sure.
And I feel like it's a little controversial, isn't it?
Why?
The KFC doesn't want to admit that that was the first KFC, even though they know it's true.
Well, it depends on what you classify as the world's first KFC.
Good
Are
point.
you saying where the birthplace was for the recipe and people eating the fried chicken? Then no, Utah was not the first place. But if you're talking about the first restaurant to be called Kentucky Fried Chicken, then yes, we win.
You may have found the same thing from your research, but if you Google where was the first KFC, what comes up? If you just Google that, it's gonna say it's funny because it says KFC place founded North Corbin, Kentucky, right? No dispute. It's founded in Kentucky. That's where Colonel Sanders had his, I think it was a gas station, right? I mean, we can get into
Yeah, yeah,
the details. We don't care about the early details. We care about the Utah history portion of it. But he started in a gas station, Colonel Harlan Sanders, and it was in Kentucky, which is hence the name Kentucky Fried Chicken. So that's going to pop up. In a separate spot, I saw it said the first location, North Corbin, Kentucky, in the year 1952. But that's not true because it says that was the first location in 1952. But the first location on the actual KFC website gives you a timeline. He was born in Indiana in 1890, left home at 13 to seek his fortune, did tons of different jobs, took over a service station in 1930 where he started selling the chicken, lost it all, refused to give up, developed his recipe of 11 herbs and spices. And then in 1952, again, this is the official KFC website, opened the first Kentucky Fried Chicken franchise in Salt Lake City.
I think that's the best way to say it. The first Kentucky Fried Chicken franchise is
Yeah,
in Utah. If you're talking about him selling his chicken somewhere else, then yeah, not Utah.
not Utah.
But
But we do have that claim. And if you look on the Wikipedia, it says the same thing. It was yeah, 1952 in September 24th, which is why we're doing this episode now. It's because we're coming up on the anniversary on this upcoming Sunday, September 24th. So it's been 71 years. So it's been a minute. KFC's been around for a long time.
yeah,
So did you do you did some actual research on the Harmons? So on the sign, I don't know if it's on the sign on 54, but the sign at the restaurant, it's got a sign that says Harmon. Does it say Harmon Cafe, Harmon Chicken?
Harmon
Some
KFC, is that what it says?
something Harmon, KFC or chicken. Let's go. Inside there's a sign that said Harmon Cafe.
And you see that used to say Harmon KFC. It might not anymore.
But the point is Pete Harmon partnered with the Colonel and created the first franchise location.
Yeah, Harmon had a big cafe, right? And his numbers were down. And like Colonel Sanders like set off because I think people told him like, hey, you should sell this chicken or franchise. That's what like I think when he's selling out his gas station, people convinced him that he should franchise his chicken. So he I think was 65 around there when he took off across the country to find somebody that would want to buy his chicken. And he figured out how to basically pressure cook his chicken so it could cook quickly but not lose its flavor, delicious taste. And It's one of those motivational stories that you hear like at any sales conference, is that he was told no like over 1,000 times before he met Pete Harmon and said, we should sell this stuff in my cafe. Like I need to bring my numbers up. Let's give it a whirl. So they kind of formed a little partnership and it became a hit. And then I think he was like a artist or like a sign artist. Like he made signs for companies or
Right.
something like that. And he's the one that came up with the idea with the bucket and stuff like that. But he's the one that told them that they should call it Kentucky Fried Chicken.
That here in Utah too?
His name was Rodney L. Anderson, was a sign painter from Roy, Utah, who was hired by Harmon, coined the name Kentucky Fried Chicken. I forget where I was going with that. Oh, to call it Kentucky Fried Chicken because it made it sound like it was Southern food, or it was something different here in Utah.
Yeah.
And then the 75% or so of the sales from Harmon Cafe came from the chicken, so they knew they had a hit. That's when Colonel Sanders took off again and started selling the idea of having one of his franchises of Kentucky Fried Chicken.
I mean, it's one of those, you told the story, but it's one of those feel good entrepreneur stories, right? Doesn't matter at what age you start or you get your break, because for someone like him, it came much later in life, right? He
Mm-hmm.
struggled and eventually he hit it big, and he's the face of the franchise, you know. I mean, he created it, but his name, image, and likeness is still around today. But yeah, it's cool to as well about Pete Harmon, and my grandfather still to this day, when he talks about KFC, says, "Do you want to go get some Harmon chicken?" So it stuck, at least with those of earlier generations. You'd said you'd visited the location itself before, but you went back prior to us doing the episode. I went as well. What were your thoughts on going inside and taking a look around?
After I found out that we had the world's first KFC back in the early 2000s and found out where it actually was, and I was way confused that it wasn't near 54 South and I-15. I found out that back then they used to have a lunch buffet, so it wasn't too expensive. It was like $7, $8, and you could get all you wanted to eat with the Kentucky Fried Chicken. So I actually visited there quite a few times back then. Um, I even remember when I was dating my wife, like she came over for lunch to meet me and some other friends there to have the buffet. Unfortunately, after my most recent visit, come to find out that buffet is no longer there.
Yeah.
They were probably losing money on people like me going there, eating there for lunch. It's a decent sized KFC. It's a big location. They even have I guess you could call it not conference room, but a room a meeting room
Kind of like a
to
banquet room.
banquet room. That's the word I was looking for. A banquet room that you can rent out, and you can have your bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken and sell people on the fact that you've got life insurance or something that you need to sell them. So, or
Right.
solar
Timeshare.
timeshare or solar energy, all that good stuff. So you can rent that place out and have some Pepsi products and eat some fried chicken.
Do you spend a lot of time inside looking around?
Uh, we were actually there on a no eat day, so we didn't eat anything.
Did you get any questions or people wondering what the heck you
My
were
wife
doing?
was a little nervous that they're gonna think that we're here to eat, and I'm like, nah. people people who work fast food could care less about what you're doing, unless if you look suspicious, right? Then they're gonna.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is in theory kind of a restaurant slash museum, so it'd be a little different if I walked into a regular KFC, a smaller one, and started walking around for 5-10 minutes. They might question me, but nobody even gave us the stink eye or even acknowledged our presence. So just kind of looked around. I mean, they got a lot of artifacts there. Colonel Sanders' outfit. So it's a really cool place to visit. My oldest son is really into he loves like famous Utah history, like when there's a celebrity from Utah or films made in Utah. So I was telling my wife I need to take him over there. I think he would get a kick out of seeing that. Wow, Utah has the world's first KFC.
Yeah, and if you get technical, going off of what you shared about the sign and everything, it is the first with the name Kentucky Fried Chicken, right? So if you want to say the first KFC, that's what it is. And they definitely play on it. I think they do care a little bit more about this location than other locations. Not to, again, don't want to get down the complaining rabbit hole of fast food and that kind of thing. But it seems like the people that they have working there are a little more, how would you say it? A little more invested. They care a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah, they're a little more interested in working there compared to, for example, this week was Monday was National Cheeseburger Day. So a lot of places had cheap hamburgers on sale, and McDonald's was one of them. So we went to McDonald's, and my oldest son again kind of made a comment about how the workers don't really care to be working there. Because they'll hire anybody is what he says. I'm like, yeah, because the turnover's so high. Not to knock McDonald's, but yeah, you're right. Like people have a little more pride when they work at KFC. Is that what you're getting at?
Well, not even just KFC. I'm saying this location specifically.
Oh, that location. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it seems it's more taken care of.
Oh,
Um, you agree?
I think so. I mean, I haven't visited a ton of KFC like locations. But I feel like overall, I think KFC does have one of the cleaner fast food restaurants.
True. True, true.
So, but usually ever since Pepsi, not ever since, but I feel it's hard to find a standalone KFC. I feel like KFC is always
KFC and A&W or KFC and Taco Bell.
or pizza, a little small Pizza Hut or something. There's always
Hmm.
something that goes along with the KFC. So it's nice that the Harmon Cafe one is just plain old KFC.
And it's big. Like it's
And it's big.
there's a
It's really
lot of
big.
space.
Yeah, it's really big.
Maybe the biggest KFC in the world. I don't know. I don't know if you can make that claim, but when I was going inside, I was surprised at how big it was. Aside from just having a banquet room, but I guess going in, it almost feels like there's like two halves. It's cut in two halves. You've got like the ceiling's a little bit lower, and there's plenty of space for your normal KFC. But then you go in and there's like a whole open space. It's really quite large. A lot of space for. I don't think it ever fills up, but it's cool that it's still. They've got. I mean, I was there for a while. I did buy a little. They don't have cookies anymore. I don't know if you knew that. We used to
Really?
buy chocolate chip cookies there, but they discontinued them. They still have their cakes, so I got a cake, and just so they wouldn't be weird if I was just walking around. And I did. I walked around the whole restaurant. I took pictures of all the pictures and the art on the walls. There's something in every corner of it. And then I also noticed there's probably at least 10 tables that have some kind of art and facts and pictures built into it. So you can sit at one of those tables and get some history while you're at it about either KFC or about the Harmon family. Yeah, it goes to show they really do care about this location and recognize that it's different and it should be celebrated for what it is. And they've got the statues out front
Hmm.
of Pete and the Colonel. And while I was there, do you realize how big of a deal KFC is in Asia?
In China.
It's huge
Yeah.
because seeing I think because of his image, the Colonel Sanders, an older man, kind of being there, like their focus on ancestry and respecting their elders. They love KFC. So when I was there, I actually had a couple. I'm not gonna assume or say where they're from, but somewhere in Asia, they asked me to take a picture of them in front of the statue. And I know they're really from there because I looked at their phone and it was all in a different language. But I took their picture and I could see there was a conference going on when I visited. So maybe there's people from the conference. And so they're like, oh, while we're here, let's go check out the first KFC. But I wouldn't be surprised if people make a trip out to Utah from Asia and they have on their list, we need to go see the very first KFC.
That would be interesting. And another thought I had earlier when we were talking is it'd be interesting to know how many people in Utah that do or do not know that we had the world's first KFC.
Very good point. I think I've been there before, just briefly, but to go around and see the pictures and just kind of admire what they have, it's pretty special.
It's interesting that you never really visited that location when you worked just a mile down the road for a while.
And that was the only time I did visit it, but it was kind of I dropped in to just quickly get something and I was like, "Oh, cool. They've got stuff here." So I locked it in my mind to remember to go
Go
back.
back.
Maybe just a quick run through of what they've got in there. I mentioned the tables. Right when you first walk in, you see the statue, but even in the in between section, they've got like portions of the wall that are not holes in the wall, but they've got casings of things in the wall. They've got a briefcase and some pictures of Pete and his wife. And then there's a sign up at top that says Pete and Arlene welcome you. So pretty cool. Some pictures right as you first walk in. And then on the side, kind of over by the bathroom, on the side over kind of the bathroom, you've got more memorabilia, statue of Mr. Harmon, more pictures, awards they got, some kind of original pot of that Colonel Sanders had. You'll turn to the left and you'll see the suit in the glass casing, and there's like another case that's just got maybe some t-shirts, some mugs, awards, signs, all sorts of different things in it. You can walk around and see the tables, and they've got old ads. This goes to show you how much they love them in Japan, at least. There's a sign that says there are over 400 statues of Colonel Sanders in Japan.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe at this location, they're a little more okay with you checking everything out than your normal fast food restaurant if you're just loitering. Maybe they encourage that here. I kind of felt weird. It's kind of like it's not illegal, but it feels illegal to go in somewhere and not buy something. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You don't get that feeling. Maybe you do it more than I do, but
It's rare that I go to a restaurant just to walk around. So I guess you're
well,
probably right.
well, if you
But
go to a gas station, for example, you're looking for something specific, you walk in, you don't see what you want, you walk out, you don't feel weird about that.
it depends on how big of a place it is. For example, my wife works right next to Laffy Town, which we should do an episode on. They don't do tours anymore though. But maybe
Taffy
if we
Town,
Taffy Town's what I
hmm
say?
Laffy Town,
Laffy Town, it's Taffy Town. And
Laffy
so
Taffy
I
Town.
went to drop something off at work like a month or two ago, and I'm like, okay, I've seen it 1,000 times. I'm gonna walk in there, and I inquired about a tour, and they don't do them anymore. But because I walked in there, I felt like obligated to buy something because it felt stupid because it's way out in the middle of nowhere, right? It's not really in a mall or anything like that where you can walk in and walk out. So I ended up buying some really overpriced taffy, and I hope that if we do have on this episode, they don't listen to that part. But
You want me to cut it out?
because I remember, because I remember, like on the way home, I had to stop by Walmart too, and it happened because obviously my awareness was on taffy, and I saw a bag of taffy. I could have got this huge bag of taffy for the same price I got like this little tiny bag. So yeah, so sometimes yeah, I feel
You get the
weird going to
feeling.
some place not, but
That's
I
why I
did
bought the
not feel
cake.
weird
I didn't want to feel weird walking around and being like, "Oh, just here to check it out. Just here to see the sights."
at the chocolate.
No, at KFC.
You said you bought a cake?
Yeah, they got little cakes.
Oh,
They're like little bunt cake type things.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, I bought one of those so I could walk around with that in my hand and be like, "Yeah,
I deserve to
I'm
be here.
patroning this business."
I'm not loitering. I'm here for
Yeah.
a reason.
But I think I get the vibe that they would encourage and not be upset about that because they've really built it out to showcase everything, all the pictures and
Sure.
the walls and the tables and everything. So
Oh, and I bet they get tons of people just walking in to check it out,
yeah,
which which I bet you they're fine with. I'm sure
they want to
more
celebrate
than
it,
no, more often than not, people probably go in there with the intentions of just taking a look and they're like, oh, that smells good. And they buy something.
right?
So
They got the free smells,
free
but
smells.
then you get enticed to get the finger looking good chicken.
That would be funny to go to Jimmy John's and just sit there for a while, just here to smell. Thank you.
Yeah.
And another random thought is, and maybe it has been a question on Jeopardy, but would anybody get the question right if they put that on Jeopardy? Where's the world's first KFC? Because you really don't think Utah
You would
when it
say
comes to
Kentucky, duh.
right. So good little trivia if you are listening outside of Utah, because odds are people probably know here in Utah, but I still bet you there's people who don't know.
Right.
Well, that's my question. I swear a few months ago I saw like a random fact, and maybe I had it in a dream, but I thought that the reason they put chicken in a bucket, and it may not have been KFC that started it, but is because like somebody just had a surplus of buckets and they're like, that's what I swear I read, but I was trying to find it before we recorded, like any facts about that, but I couldn't find any. So I guess right now it's just a typical rumor. But if anybody has any information on why they started putting chicken in a bucket, I'd like to know.
And just for the heck of it, tell us what your favorite thing is to eat at KFC.
Chicken, of course. I do like KFC chicken. I do like it a lot. I just don't have it very often. There's a few places that can make it pretty similar for cheaper. So that's usually where I go. But I do enjoy my bucket of KFC every once in a while.
That famous bowl.
And the famous bowl, that's what I was just saying. The famous bowl is really good too. KFC for a while, we were going to the one in Jordan Landing. Oh man, it's probably been over 10 years because they were doing like a daily deal, or they had a lot of good deals going on. So we could go over there for fairly cheap, especially when the kids were younger. But they haven't been doing too many deals as of late that I've noticed. So
yeah. Well, KFC, bring back the deals if you're listening, and you get more people visiting your location rather than just still in the sights and smells as they visit the OG location.
that's right.
You got any chicken puns for us?
I didn't think of any. You could have used your drumsticks to go boom, ching.
There you go.
I do have one chicken thought.
All right.
It's not KFC related, but why are they called boneless wings? It's just adult chicken fingers, right? It drives me nuts when they say boneless wings because they're not wings. Like if I want wings, I want flipping wings. I don't want chicken tenders or popcorn chicken covered in buffalo sauce. But
maybe it's so the adults will buy it because they
that's
have
what
too
I
much
think,
shame
right?
buying the chicken nuggets or chicken fingers.
That's kind of my thought too. Is like if you went to a restaurant and bought the chicken finger meal, you'd feel ashamed. But if you buy the buffalo wings, then it's okay. The boneless buffalo wings.
It makes you more adult.
So just seems like as of late, like it's rare that some place is doing a deal on regular wings. It's always boneless wings. So, for example, Applebee's right now, all you can eat chicken fingers and or buffalo wings.
Boneless wings.
Boneless wings. So just a little bone. I have to pick.
Just
Or not pick.
Or
but
not pick.
My wife is a fan of the chicken fingers / boneless wings. She doesn't like the regular wings, which I don't understand. Dude, in South America, maybe not just South America, but at least in Uruguay, they would like after they ate like the meat out the bone, they would suck out the bone marrow. So
yeah, I mean, I ate a lot of tacos that still had bones in them in the meat. That was
really?
not an uncommon thing.
So you'd like bite into the taco and go, okay, that's a surprise.
You kind of have to pick it out, but yeah, I got much more okay with dealing with the bone and taking everything off of it. But yeah, I prefer the boneless variety. I'll take my boneless
So
wings.
you like the boneless wings?
Yeah, I do.
No. I mean, it has to. It's so much better, in my opinion.
Nah, I don't think so.
I think I'm right.
But there's nothing like a drumstick. That's summer in a bucket.
Heck yes. Did you guys get Harmon's Cafe a lot as a kid then?
Yeah.
Did you and your brother?
Not a ton. I knew it was KFC. We'd always get the I mean, because most of them are A&W around here.
Mm-hmm.
So you would get the bucket of chicken, boneless chicken, the boneless wings, and a jug of the root beer.
Right. And that A&W beer is really good.
It
Um,
is.
my whole point to that question was, did you and your brother fight over the drumsticks?
We still do to this day.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that
No,
was always the
things
thing.
don't change.
Because usually, like in a bucket, maybe comes with two
Yeah.
drumsticks, maybe 2 to 4. So that was always everyone fought over the drumsticks. But um, anyways, now I'm like, my kids want the drumsticks. I'm like, that's fine. I'll take the
Yeah. It has
chicken
less meat
breast.
than everything else.
Yeah, but it is good, and that's why I like the wings, like the buffalo wings, because it's similar to the drumsticks. It's got that same type of meat. So
Yeah.
I did hear that the part of the reasons that Pepsi, which they changed the name to like, what is it called? That owns KFC and
Yum.
A&W, Yum, or
Yum
something like that,
brands.
was Pepsi. But part of the reasons that they bought into those franchises, it was just to make sure that they sell Pepsi products in their restaurant so Coke
Mm.
doesn't take them over. What I've heard, maybe read somewhere once, but yeah, you get Pepsi when you go to Pepsi or A&W root beer.
And sometimes they have special Mountain Dews or special,
Yeah, that's one thing I appreciate. But
limited edition things you can get at KFC.
yeah, yeah, especially when I was drinking soda, that's one thing I appreciated about the PepsiCo owned restaurants is the different types of variety of flavors you can get, some different products compared to the typical Coke and Powerade or whatever they have. So a pro for Pepsi. But
Not a bad franchise to claim here in Utah.
yeah.
It's a good one to claim.
Did you know that Colonel Sanders shot somebody?
Really?
Yeah. I guess like there was
I thought this was an opening for a joke.
no, he did. Supposedly in the internet again. I can't remember where I read it when I was looking doing research, but there was like some dispute between like three guys and in the gas station business, and the one guy shot and killed the other man, and then Colonel pulled out his gun and shot that guy, the murderer, in the arm. But the murderer went to jail, but Colonel got arrested but was let off because it was more like self-defense from what I could find. So sounds like he did not shy away from a fight. He wasn't afraid to.
And a sign in the restaurant looks like he ran for senator, and it says he would have been senator in Kentucky if not for 187 votes.
Really?
Yeah. What a life that guy lived. I think you should be Colonel Sanders for Halloween this year.
Ooh. Dye my hair white.
But speaking of Halloween, I think this is our last episode before we get into the Halloween season, which is always the time of year we love, right?
Yeah,
So
that's what we live
join
for.
us next week as we put on the Halloween overlay of the podcast.
And sorry, one tangent. How often does Friday the 13th fall in October?
Or how often does it fall on Halloween?
That's never.
Almost never.
So it's a
How
good.
often?
It's gonna be a good Halloween season.
But it's gonna be a spooky month.
It's gonna be fun or scary.
Ooh, thanks for listening to This Is a Place podcast.
And this was a place we just talked about.